Hello! Haven't done a video for quite some time. I've been re-uploading, and I suddenly thought this is silly because although they're quite good, it's got the old energy and I'm now in a new energy. I just want to pass on some thoughts about that because it's been a very, very difficult time for me. I've had to let go everything. I mean, there is nothing left. No daughter, no home, no money, complete emptiness. So I was a bit panicky the other day. I don't know if you know anything about the Kabbala, but the Kabbala is a Jewish system of the psychological spirituality really, and there are different stages. It's a very interesting subject. And I was in this place, I was in this room actually. I don't think I was meditating, I was sitting quietly. I was aware that I was in this place. It was emptiness. There was nothing I could grab hold of, nothing to hold up visually or whatever. And I was a bit panicky. I think it lasted about 5 or 10 minutes. I did have some help with me. I knew there were friends around me, but it was something I had to go through on my own. I think it's called Daath or the abyss. That's the word that kept coming to me, was abyss. It's something we have to cross to get to the Kether, which is the higher, the ground cell, as I understand it. So this word, it came to me 3 times the following day as well. So I feel it's that I had to cross this vast emptiness where there is nothing, and I feel that inside of me to get to the higher stage. I don't know. I get quite envious of some of these people on the internet with fantastic websites and graphics, and they seem to know so much. I'm thinking, well, I don't really know anything at all. But I did read somewhere that the higher you go, the less you do see, because there is nothing really. It's all kind of created. So maybe that's a bit of consolation. I don't know. I know sometimes the psychic phenomena can't be trusted. So perhaps I'm working on a different level. I don't know. I keep saying I don't know. Well, I'm not. It's not confirmed. But anyway, I did get this feeling I was crossing this abyss into the higher state. So I have felt kind of a bit wiped out really, because it takes an awful lot of energy. But anyway, when you're that empty, what do you call on? I mean, what do you call on? I don't have a lot of good memories either, which is a very sad thing to say. I mean, the odd one or two, but I've had some disastrous holidays with groups of people who have turned against me. I've had a disastrous life really, and I haven't yet quite worked out why, but I think I've obviously been learning quite a lot. So it got to the stage I thought, well, what can I do? I've got nothing to fall back on to sort of feel better about, you know. And all of a sudden, my grandmother appeared. Now, I'm not clairvoyant. She didn't appear in front. I mean, I was lying down at the time she appeared in my mind. Grandmother, 80 years ago, possibly. I mean, she lived in Nottingham, in the north, kind of Midlands of England, really. And I always felt very safe with her and my grandfather. I think my mother was she born? My mother's Canadian, but I think I was born in Nottingham. I obviously visited the house quite a lot, and I actually went to stay there when I was about 12. Now my grandmother, I've got a bit of a cold. My grandmother, I could see her. I mean, the detail, and the kitchen she was standing in was her bungalow. And I've written a short story about my grandmother's because, I mean, the existence in those days was pretty bleak. No fridge, you know, no freezer, no television, no washing machine. And she used to wash all the sheets by hand in the huge, great porcelain sink in the kitchen. And I can remember everything about that kitchen. And that's what set me off. I was sitting in the kitchen on my little wooden table, little table in the kitchen. I was sitting there with my arm resting. I thought, gosh, my grandmother used to sit like that, and my mother did. So she used to get older. I'm going through a bit of a thing with old age at the moment. I don't like it. I really don't like. I can't see any advantages in it. You get more ill, and you get nearer to your final resting place. And I'm aware that I keep making plans. That sounds silly, well, not really. It's just I know the heaven is within, and whatever you appreciate and love in this life, you take it with you. So when I see a beautiful tree or a beautiful sunset, I said, put that on my list. It's like the bucket list. Creating this list, so when I go over, I shan't be sort of too lost I'll have memories, I'll have things. So whether I'm doing that in a similar way now, because obviously the dimensions are coming closer together, I'm beginning to feel there is no difference. It's got just a step away. It's not far away. It's a few steps away to the next dimension, next lifetime, the next after lifetime. It's a very strange feeling. But anyway, this grandmother, I thought, well, why did she come? And I immediately thought, has she come to get me? I thought, no, she's just come to bring me some love. I think I've mentioned this to you before. This is not a sob story, but I've had very little love in my life. And there is a reason for it. A lot of us have come without much love because we're learning the understanding of it. It's a esoteric thing, which I don't fully understand. But you have to be very, very strong indeed to go through life without much love. I mean, you do, because you've got nothing to fall back on. I mean, my parents supposed to love me, but it's not a warm, nurturing kind of love that I've ever felt. Not arms round you, love you lots sort of love, you know. And the men I've had, and the husband and the daughter, and all. And so this lack of love, it really hit me, because when I was in this abyss, I thought, well, I've got nothing. I haven't even got anyone who loves me. I don't. I have to laugh because it's silly, it's poignant, really. So grandmother came to bring me some love, because I went to stay with her when I was about 12 years old, and she was getting on then. I think she was about my age. So it's a really strange connection to see your grandparents, that you're that age that they were when you went with them. It's just it's like a connection thing. I mean, there is no disconnection, and no matter who you are, you've had a parent, whether you like them or not, you know, then whether they're still here or not. I mean, my daughter, well, I won't go into that now, but she's well and truly fallen out with me. But she's still got a mother. She can't until I die, you know. And I've even written to the housing people, because here's a list, here's my daughter's address. So when I die, she'll know what to do, where to find me. This sounds a bit dreary, this video, doesn't it? But it's just what's happening to me today, you know. I'm thinking, I'll pass this on, because not everyone's young and healthy, and, you know, I think it's nice to acknowledge old age. I don't like it. I never have. I won't ever come to terms with it. I mean, I wear bright colours. My parents, my mother especially, was always in browns and greys and all those sort of colours. And on the television in the afternoon, she'll get all these videos about funerals, stair lifts, and they're all laughing away. They're arranging cremations, and they're having great fun, tea parties, you know. So I suppose they're trying to make light of it, but it's inevitable, isn't it? You know, and I think you've got to make plans. So I practice dying. I think, okay, let's try. The North American Indians, they are able to lie down and say, today's a good day to die, and they go. They have got a technique. I wish they would teach me that, because in our days I'm thinking, I just want to go. I don't want to stay. I mean, you know what the world's like at the moment. And for me, there is nothing pleasant in it except for me. You know, I do get through it, but there are some days I'm thinking, what am I doing here? You know, this is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. And then you go out and see the trees and the mountains, and well, I don't see mountains, but I love mountains. And you sort of find a way through it. But there are some days I think, let's just go. You know, it must be better over there. It must be. The only thing that concerns me, and I don't know how to find out, I don't think we're not told everything of I've just had some lovely soup. Sorry. And it's sort of, what was I going to say? How to find out, yes, whether we carry our senses forward. I've got a lovely book here. It's actually out of print now, and it's called The High Mountain. Pensatia. It's an American thing. I've got a series of her books, and she travels with her master through all the different planes and has different teachings and so forth. It's a lovely book. It is so beautifully written, and the words are beautiful. It's what you call a beautiful book. And I read it and I think, language is not like that now. You know, the language is poetic, it's beautiful. And he talks about these sort of levels of understanding and so forth. But he talks about she goes to log cabins and finds a fire there, and she drinks wine and stuff that I think, well, is it like that? Are you able to? I wouldn't have thought so. If you haven't got a physical body, you haven't got the physical sixth senses, have you? So whether you can still sit by a fire and feel the flames, see the flames, and have a glass of wine and brush your hair and do things that are very physical here, I don't know. But from what I read, it seems as though they are similar, but shouldn't they be exactly the same? I don't know. So that's something else I'm kind of working on. And it's sort of the plans, grandmother. I stayed in her little kitchen. The kitchen, I mean, 80 years ago, and the detail in my mind, which goes to prove that everything is stored. Every single memory is stored. I don't quite know where it's stored. It's not necessarily subconscious. I don't think so. If it's a conscious thing you've experienced, I don't know how that works. I'm still looking at that one. But I think, well, how did they? No washing machine, no fridge. They had a little cupboard in the corner where they kept the food and stuff, and it had an outside grill so that it was a bit cooler than elsewhere. But I mean, she had to climb quite a steep hill to the shops, and she would have to have gone shopping every other day for milk and stuff like that. It wouldn't have kept. And I'm thinking, well, what an existence. And she wasn't unhappy and depressed. I think she died of a stroke in the end, but it was completely different lifestyle. And I can remember my little table is much like her little table, and she had a cooker in the kitchen, and she would sit right on the table and at the table and the little cooker in the corner, when she used to fry eggs, she put a little stone underneath the frying pan, and I do that. So it does seem that we do carry a lot of these things forward. Gosh, my mum used to do that, my grandmother used to do that, and it's a very interesting thing to sort of remember these. Hang on a minute. Oh my goodness me, I'm rabbiting on again. I just want to tell you about a very quick experience I had today and wanted to share, which has nothing to do with what I've been talking about. I went to have my eyes tested, and the young man, well, you know what I'm like. I'm a bit of a flirt. I love the young men. They are so beautiful, aren't they? And he was a Sikh. Now, I've never met a Sikh, but I'm fascinated by the Indian tradition, the Sikhs and the Hindus. I might do another video on that, but he had a gold bracelet, and I said, you're a Sikh, because they wear metal bracelets and turbans, they don't cut their hair. And I felt very tearful. I don't know why. I thought it was so beautiful that this religion that he was carrying in himself, I think I probably touched into that and maybe had a past life in India, I don't know, but I can still see him now. He was so kind and so loving, caring rather, and there was his bracelet. And I think he was surprised that I knew what it was. Anyway, dear ones, I'm going to go now. So feeling emotional. I must have had a past life in India. I'm going to have to explore that. Hope you take care of yourselves and everything is going well, because we have been going through quite a difficult time. And of course there's more to come. But take care. Use your mind to create memories to help you through the difficult times. I had a friend once, and he used to call it pulling up the anchors. Try and scrabble around in there, look back into the past and get hold of really good memory when you're going through that empty feeling, because there are some good memories, obviously, finding the right ones. So take care, dear ones. God bless for now.